Hello everybody and welcome to my first guide with voice. I have another guide on this channel on how to achieve orbit, and unfortunately I thought I was recording my voice when I made that video ages ago on my old computer, and I was incorrect. Now this computer doesn't run anywhere near as strong, but that's okay. It still runs the game. I'm recording at 20 FPS, which is okay, I guess. It's playable, so I want to try to do my best here. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and use pretty much demo parts throughout this. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the command pod MK1, which is just your simple one man. I'm pretty sure it's the first command pod they came out with. We're going to put it way up here. I'm not going to build a rocket that big, but it is useful. Now, your next step is a decoupler, which this TR-18A is the decoupler that came in the demo, I believe. It's been a while since I played it, but we're going to go ahead and use that. And then we're going to go in here to control, and then you have your SAS, you have your inline reaction, and you have your inline advanced stabilizer. All of these are basically a form of having the computer keep the ship still. So we're going to go ahead and use the advanced one. I don't know if that's in the demo. I think it's this one, but regardless. Now, as far as a lander goes, might as well make a lander so we can come crashing back down. We're going to use the FLT 400. Just an average size fuel tank there, and we're going to equip it with a LV 909 that is the smaller, oh, what is say smallest, but at the same time a lot of parts have come out that I haven't had the opportunity to explore, like this for instance. Now we're going to go ahead and add another decoupler after this, not the Rockomax. Now your next stage is what is going to be called the transfer stage. This is the lander stage. Microphone's right next to my mouth, I apologize. And this is going to be what I call, and I think others call, the transfer stage, which we're going to go ahead and equip a simple large FLT 800 and then an FLT 200. If you do not have the FLT 200, that is okay. You don't have to use it. I just do it for just a little more fuel. And we're going to equip a LVT 45. And then go back in here to structural and attach another decoupler. And this stage we're going to do two. This is the burn stage. We're going to do two big fuel tanks. And if the demo version doesn't have these big fuel tanks, it is just two of these. Or four of these. So we're going to go ahead and go back down here, and we're going to attach a LV-T45 again. The T45 doesn't have quite the same thrust as the T30. It's off by 15. I think that's 15 pounds. I have no idea. But it should still get the job done. We're going to use these TT38K radial decouplers now, and we're going to go ahead and see if we can get the job done with solid fuel. Now press C to activate your angle snap. Basically makes it so it snaps onto an angle properly. And we're going to throw on some solid fuel boosters. Where are the smaller solid fuel boosters? They are... No, that's the big one. I cannot see... There they are. Okay, we're going to throw a solid fuel booster right on the thing like this. Right there. Just right there. Now, if you look to the right-hand side, you'll notice this tree which keeps getting bigger and bigger as you add parts like decouplers and engines. This is what is called the staging tree. Now, click on the decoupler between the big fuel tank and the solid fuel booster, the radial decoupler, and I want you to press X 3 times to place 4 of these bad boys, just like that. And we're going to go ahead and split up this staging to see if solid fuel can do this. This is a test for me. I don't really mess with solid fuel. But we're going to put that one down there, and the one opposing it, this one, down here. And if those bad boys can handle the lift, then we're going to go ahead and decouple them. Now this is the staging tree. As you see, I'm dragging these and I'm setting it up so that these two engines ignite first. Now solid fuel you cannot decrease the throttle to. Keep that in mind. So we're going to add on some aerodynamic bits here, which I believe the AVR8 is in the demo. We're going to zoom out by holding shift and scrolling down. And there you go. That'll help control the rocket just a little bit. And of course we need a parachute, so go into utility and find yourself the MK16, the Mark 16. Put it right on there. And we need landing legs, which the LT ones are included in the demo. Put them on like that, just 4 of them. Keep the symmetry mode like that. Now hopefully this rocket works. If not, then I will be a pathetic excuse. We're going to go ahead and name it Solid Test. Now we're going to save this rocket, and it looks like we're about done. The only problem we have here is we need struts, which are right here in structural. And we're gonna make sure we have one. We're gonna click on the top of this solid fuel booster and right up against this tank. And we're gonna do 1 more strut, well, 4 more struts across the bottom of all of these solid fuel tanks. If you leave symmetry mode on, it'll work just fine. So we're gonna save this and launch. I apologize for the Skype noises. I should have probably disabled the Skype notifications before launching the game, like I did with Steam. Or before starting the recording, but I already messed up, so might as well just leave it on there so you guys can get annoyed. Now, you see staging here. If these 2 boosters do not lift this thing off the ground, then what we'll do is we'll simply click this 8. Actually, we'll click on these so that highlights both of them. Then we'll click and drag them up to 6. But hopefully we don't have to do that. Now let's try it. And we do have liftoff. Press T to turn on your little stabilizer. We're going to go ahead and click these rockets now, and we're going to move them down here. You shouldn't do this with liquid fuel, so you have, kind of a gap. But with solid fuel, I don't think it really matters. Having it set up this way is going to give us just enough delta V before we get to orbit. Probably. Well, hopefully. So far the rocket is flying extremely straight, which I'm kind of proud of. It seems like the stability in the later versions has gotten a little bit better. And press space 1 more time, if it wants to work for me. And there go your 2 solid fuel boosters off the sides. And you launch out the other 2, making it symmetrical. And it's not spinning, it's not rolling, it's just staying perfectly straight, which is great. Now after this engine, you see the throttle down here. Shift and control lowers and raises the throttle, and the X button just completely drops it. I apologize for the poor graphic quality, but I'm running on a Dell Studio 17 laptop from quite a few years ago. So I'm actually kind of impressed with the 2017 FPS I'm recording at. So we're going to go ahead and drop those and press space 1 more time to activate this. And we're going to speed up to where it just barely starts slowing down. Or not. We're at 5 kilometers, and this engine is more than capable. So we're going to go full throttle now. And you notice that the ascend is starting to slow down. Well, starting to speed up, I guess you could call it. The drop in speed is slowing down. We went from roughly 120 meters a second. We're down to 56, 55. Probably going to hit about 50, and then it's going to start climbing right back up. As you see up here, we have 6,500 meters. Our atmosphere, this is what I call the atmosphere gauge. When you're in space, that's going to be all the way over here to the black. So this rocket is not as efficient as I had hoped. You can go ahead and move the next stage's engine down to the decoupler. Just make sure to cut throttle when you activate that stage, along with this stage. And good idea to always have your parachute and your decoupler on separate stages. I do it this way because I like to keep my lander, if I can, but sometimes you don't always win. As you notice, we're speeding right back up. We're not falling, which is good. We're at 50 meters a second, which isn't good. Burning about a third of the tank so far. Normally at about 10 kilometers, which is 10,000 meters, I would angle over to about this mark right here, which I think is about 15 degrees. Now you always want to steer using this, the globe. You don't ever want to look at your rocket. The main reason for that is, well, you won't be able to steer if you use the rocket. So there we go, we're actually starting to climb in speed here. We're 9,400 meters and counting, finally starting to speed up. Now there isn't much point in doing about 200 meters a second under 10 kilometers, but once you reach 10 kilometers you can just punch it if you feel like it. And we're going to angle over to that 15-degree mark, like I said, which is right there. We're going to turn SAS back on with the T key. And now we are going to wait. Press M to get into map view. And as you can probably tell here, alright, you have the AP, which I don't really know how to pronounce, Apops, whatever, which is going up because we're speeding up. This is 13,000 meters. What you want is that T minus 12 seconds to be getting farther and farther away, which it is. That's good. Now our transfer stage is going to unfortunately be used to get into orbit, and probably our lander stage is going to be used to simplify the orbit or define the orbit. But we're about to be 200 meters a second, which we're speeding up pretty good here, and the next stage we'll have more thrust to weight ratio. Now I'm at 15 kilometers, so I'm going to angle just a little bit more over, another 10 degrees. And what this does is it widens your path here. This is your path, this is your trajectory. Unfortunately, well, now like I said, you should always cut throttle before switching stages. There we go, as you see it's climbing yet again. When we reach about 350 meters a second, I'm going to angle over here. So we're at 270, so I'm going to get more over. At about 350 to 400 meters a second, you want to be on the 90 there, which is actually 45 degrees. Your bigger rockets, you'll be there much sooner. But as you can see, it's starting to widen a lot more. And when this reaches about 65 kilometers, you're going to want to be pointing right on the horizon, right here at 90, which is 90 degrees, well, 180 degrees, I believe. I'm not sure. We're definitely gaining speed now. Let's click to stage only. We have about 290 units of fuel left. At the lander stage will definitely be used to get into orbit though. Oh, I'm sorry, that's oxidizer. We have 200 units of fuel left, which I've always said liters. I don't know if it's meant to be liters, but I've always called it liters. After this rocket, I'm going to go ahead and make one more video to show proper staging with multiple liquid fuel rockets. I don't remember exactly what it's called, AVOCADO staging, something like that. If we're at 65, but we're still going a little slow, so we're going to angle to the yellow circle until 70, and then point this bad boy at the horizon. At 70 kilometers, you are out of the atmosphere, which means your ISP is much higher. Engines like the nuclear engine are much more efficient after 70 kilometers. Here we're about to run out of fuel, and when we do, I'm going to press X to cut throttle and press space again to activate the next stage. Which this engine is not all that powerful. As you can see, we're at about 89,000, so I'm going to speed this up a little bit. We're at 98, and we're going to cut throttle now. We're at 100,000 kilometers, which is about what you want your orbit at. And we are at 67,000. Now that we're at 70,000, we can use 50 times time warp, but I'm only going to do that for a brief second here. We do have a weak engine, so I'm going to start my burn to stabilize orbit. Whoa. Right early. And as you can see, our AP is not really climbing, which the AP is the highest point of your orbit, by the way. If you could see the periapse, which is the lowest point of your orbit, you would notice that it's climbing as well, as you can see with this ring expanding. Now you want to cut throttle when they get ready to switch. With this weak of an engine, they're going to switch nice and slow, but they switch nonetheless. Now what you can do is your AP here is 102,000 meters, and your periapse is 99,000 meters. If you want those closer, what you simply do is time warp. When you're at the AP, if you burn prograde, which is what this little yellow circle means, you burn prograde, and anywhere on your orbit, if you burn prograde, it will increase the opposite side of your orbit. As you see, they switched there. Now we're at 102,000, and to make this a little more, 102,000, 104,000, 103,000, 102,400. So as you can see, we've established a pretty good orbit here, and we have plenty of delta V to do a landing. Let's go crazy spinning for a little bit. Now, I am no expert when it comes to landing, but we're going to go ahead and basically we're just going to go ahead and drop this other side to just under 50 kilometers. Well, let's go with 35 kilometers. That way we have plenty of time to slow down, and we have all this landmass to land on, and it's daylight. So now we're going to go ahead and time warp again. I actually get really low FPS when facing the planet, oddly. As you see, our descent is coming down, and now that we're under 70 kilometers, we can use time warp 4 times. We can also turn off SAS, and as we get lower and lower and lower, we will actually start to... Oh, okay, I forgot time warp was on. We're going to turn that off just enough for me to... Alright, and to activate physical time warp, you hold the Alt key and press period. To deactivate it, you press comma. Or click up here. Now, as you can notice, the periapse is actually dropping. That's because we're actually, believe it or not, slowing down. It may not look like that, but we are slowing down, which is also bringing the AP in very quickly. Now what we want is to be landing somewhere in this desert here, if that's at all possible, which we're still all the way over here, so we might not. But as you can tell, this periapse is going to come crashing down to about there, and unfortunately it seems like I may have cut it a little early, and we're going to be doing a water-based landing. Probably not. Look at that blue glow, isn't that beautiful? Yeah, it looks like we're going to be doing a water-based landing. Your first few landings are probably going to be water-based. A lot of Kerbin is covered in water. But it looks like we might be lucky, actually. Yeah, we are definitely going to be lucky and be able to... There's your pretty effects. Let's go ahead and turn off physical time warp now and turn off your stability control. We may not be doing a water landing, but we're definitely doing a rocky landing, which means we are landing on a mountain. So we're going to start slowing down already. Now this exact reason, and you open the landing gear with the G key, this exact reason is why I have the parachute on a stage before that. I wish I had a better computer so that I could actually see where I'm going here. But this is doing it. We're slowing down quickly enough with barely any throttle. We can actually slow down a little bit on the throttle. When you open your parachute up, you don't want to be going faster than 50 meters per second as a general rule, especially with one parachute. I still have 90 liters of fuel, so this is a lot of weight. Your parachute won't open until you're 500 meters above where your current altitude. So to get a general take on how high you are or how close you are to landing, you can always just throw that thing out there. And we are now 500 meters above. So we're gonna keep the throttle down a little bit until we get closer. We're actually gonna cut it because 15 meters a second is plenty easy to come back from. You want to save as much fuel as you can when it comes to landing, especially if you're landing on the Mun or Minmus or Duna, so that you have some fuel to return. This is going to be a horrible landing for me, guys. Okay. That's what happens when you can't tell how high you are. But as you see, Jebediah here survived. Oh boy, he might not survive if I do that again. There we go. As you can see, this isn't the best place to land. It's kind of sloped. In fact, I could probably roll all the way down into the ocean from here. Building up speed, hit the brakes, press T. So basically that was just getting to orbit, establishing orbit, and attempting to land. Hey look, it's the Mun. This next video I'll build a bigger, easier to fly rocket. There we go. No. I'm trying to get this stupid thing to stand up. No. Oh. There we go. And she stands. Look at that. Now you can get out and wander around. You can press space and you can fall on your face. And you can use your jetpack by pressing R. Shift will go up, Control will go down, W is forward. But on Kerbin it doesn't do anything at all. Oh my goodness. He can't make it. Can he? I just killed Jebediah. Thanks for watching, guys, and enjoy.